Welcome back, trainers! This is part 2 of my Paldean forms for every Gen 3 Pokémon series, in which I randomize a new type for every single Gen 3 Pokémon and give them a new form. Last time we ended on the Lotad line, which means that we're starting on their sort of counterpart line, which is the Seedot line. And the new type is Fairy. So for the Seedot line, I kind of started in the other end in that I decided what the theme should be, like from shift tree, and then I worked backwards. But we're starting with Seedot anyway. So Seedot is like practically a baby Pokemon, but I can't really say that it is a baby Pokemon because originally it just isn't. But in my mind it acts like Igglybuff or Cleffa or Toxel, you know, all of these small cute ones. That's kind of its vibe, just cute little Pokemon walking around, being cute and playful and friendly. And then when you get to Nuzleaf, you start to see the real inspiration. Shiftry and Nuzleaf are kind of based on Tengu, these very Japanese yokai mythological beings. I think they're super cool. They're very Japanese, so I really wanted to keep the Japanese elements. Which is why Nuzleaf here has like geisha elements, like the patterns and colors kind of mimic, you know, their hair, makeup, and a beautiful like kimono. So I imagine them as very like graceful and helpful Pokemon. Extremely social, they will help anyone, and they're probably also the kind of Pokemon that geishas in the Pokemon world would use. You know, like how they use the evolutions in Johto, they probably use this line in whatever region they're in. Maybe Paldea, since that's the region we're going with, even though they don't really exist there, but you know, in my mind maybe they do. But anyway, of course it evolves into its final form, Shiftry, which is the like top geisha. And I gave it a little comb accessory that they usually have because I think those are really cool. And obviously the hands are fans. I think it actually works really well because I think it still looks like Shiftry, but it does look like geisha Shiftry. So I kind of like how it turned out actually. Obviously it's like a very fancy top class Pokemon to have, they're very rare. So if you have one, you're like probably a big geisha or something. And of course, shiny versions. And they're all pink instead of green because that's adorable. And that's literally the reason why I picked pink, because I think it's cute. Moving on to the next Pokemon, it's Tailo and the new type is Bug. I did a very literal interpretation, I just turned it into a caterpillar. It's so strange to turn a bird into a caterpillar, but what else am I supposed to do with this? I did actually have like a hidden meaning to it. Well, hidden meaning is a little bit of a pretentious phrase to use, but what I actually mean is, there's a kind of butterfly that's called swallowtail butterfly. That's like perfect, because obviously they're swallows, so of course I'm gonna use that. Let's just take and evolve Tailo into Swallow, and as you can see, this is the inspiration I used. That's a swallowtail butterfly. That's just one of them, there are like 500 of them or something. There's a lot of them, but that's a very classic butterfly, so I thought why not. And there is absolutely no logical reason for this bird family to turn into bugs. I don't know how it happened. I don't know what kind of lore to have behind them. It's just very strange, isn't it? But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna say they're very like aggressive bug type Pokemon. They like attack other bug type Pokemon because they have like a bird mentality. They think they're gonna eat them, but they're bugs so they can't eat them. I mean, bugs eat bugs, but like, still. None of this makes sense. I just wanna move on. But we're gonna look at the shinies first. Tailo is obviously just the colors flipped. Swallow was inspired by another butterfly, not a swallowtail, but I thought it was pretty. Well, let's hope this one makes more sense. It's Wingull and the new type is Fire. I turned it into a very straightforward fire type. It's kind of a little burning ball of fire because I think that would be very cute to have it zoom around on the sky and look like a little comet, you know? So Fire Wingull happened because sailors used to use Wingulls to help them run a steamboat. So you needed to like have coal and fire and somehow Wingull turned into a fire type. If you don't think about it too much, you can kind of pretend that it makes sense, it's fine. And then it evolves into Pelipper, which kind of mimics a big boat. So it has like a big feather on its head that looks like smoke coming out. I think it's actually really cute. Basically they just live as regular Wingull and Pelipper, they're very helpful Pokemon. Doesn't really make sense, because they live like out at sea and they're fire types. It is what it is. And the shinies have a more orangey, purpley, pinkish tone. And that is simply because I looked out of the window and this is the color the sky had and it was beautiful and I was like, yeah, let's go with it. That's the whole reason behind the colors. And we're moving on to a fan favorite, which is Ralts, and the new type is Grass. thought having the helmet become like a flower bud would be perfect and very cute, so that's what I did. Grass Ralts is a very shy Pokemon, it's super hard to come by. I think it probably has teleport, just like regular Ralts, you know, so if you run into it, it will just like teleport away because it's so shy. So very few people actually have one. They're so like scared but friendly. The thing is just like tending to flowers, they don't like battling. So they're extremely hard to like level up and evolve. But if you do, you get rewarded with a Kirlia that's excellent in battle. It dances gracefully, it uses ballerina-like movements, just like regular Kirlia. This is basically the teenage stage, which is why it's kind of more of a battle Pokemon. And then it evolves into Gardevoir, and Gardevoir is again a very peaceful Pokemon. It's not so spicy anymore, it stopped fighting, it's a very calm Pokemon, it's a very like motherly Pokemon. I think that fits the grass type because, you know, nature is growing, so it helps people grow. You know what I mean? So yeah, super friendly Pokemon. And extremely rare. Kind of imagine them being used in contests a lot. They're like beautiful flower performances. And let's look at the shiny. I kind of like the idea of having a mix of color. Next Pokemon, it's Surskit, and the new type is Dragon. It's really hard to turn such a simple Pokemon into a dragon. I don't want to add too much to Surskit, I don't want to like take away from the design or add too much to the design, so basically it's a Surskit with fancy patterns. Doesn't really make sense in this stage, but it will make a little bit more sense when it evolves. But first, I'm trying to figure out a way why it's a dragon type, and my thought is, you have areas in the Pokemon world, such as Dragon's Den in Johto, where basically the only Pokemon that lives there is Dratini and Magikarp, because Magikarp lives literally everywhere. But it's like the Dragon Den with Dratini. So I'm figuring if you had like Surskits living in like a secluded dragon area that maybe they could adopt a type too. That's my thinking. So there's like a very tiny population of dragon Surskits around. Okay, anyway, it evolves into Masquerain. And as you can see, I tried to keep the Masquerain trait of having the wings form a pattern that looks like a face. And of course I had to make that face kind of look like a dragon. I think I made it kind of successfully. And the reason I use purple is because that's kind of the dragon color. I think the color combo became very dramatic. I think it works. It looks scary, it looks like a big dragon, you know? I imagine they're very aggressive and dragon-like in their behavior. Like they kind of think they're big scary dragons. They act like if the wings are the face, like that's their actual face. They're trying to make you think that at least. They have an attitude, is what I'm saying. And then the shinies are orange. It's kind of a nod to the first gen having orange dragon Pokemon. Next Pokemon is Shroomish, and the new type is Fire. I actually really like how this one turned out. So, we have Shroomish, and it's obviously based on a mushroom, and there are mushrooms that if you step on them they like explode and their spores shoot out, like that's the little thing, they explode. So I thought, why not use that? Why not keep like the mushroom elements and have it be like an exploding mushroom? And since it's an exploding mushroom, I wanted it to be sort of like a, you know, the fake Pokeballs like Voltorb and the other mushroom. Oh, my mind is blanking right now. What's the little piggy called? The little piggy shroom. The Amoonguss baby. What? Foongus! Foongus, that's the one. Oh wow, I'm tired. So, it's like supposed to be a fake Pokeball. I didn't want it to be another Foongus, so it's just like very vaguely Pokeball-like. Like if you put it in a game, it had to be one of the old games where you had a little tiny Pokeball sprite where you couldn't tell, and then you like interact with it, and then it's, whoa, it's a Pokemon and not a Pokeball. Because if it was in the newer games, you're like, that's clearly not a Pokeball, it looks nothing like a Pokeball. But in spirit, it's like a fake Pokeball Pokemon. So the thing is to just explode. And then they evolve into Breloom. And here's the fun thing. Breloom has little, you know, berries. I don't know what to call them, like bombs in this case, on its tail that look like Shroomish. So what Breloom will do, it will grab the like bomb berries on its tail and it will light them on fire using the fire on their head, and they will throw them and they will explode. And they will also just grab Shroomish and throw Shroomish on people and they will explode. I thought that was a really cute idea. And then the shinies I use more like a yellowy orange color. Next Pokemon is Slacko, and the new type is Water. When I got Water, I was like, I have absolutely no idea what to make, but I think the whole line turned out pretty nice actually. So, Slacko, as you can see, is based on a seal. I think it's actually pretty adorable. I think it works perfectly, because you know how seals kind of just lie around and do nothing and just They're just so lazy. It's perfect. It translates so well. They're unfortunately not very popular Pokemon because they're not very good at battling because they're so lazy. They kind of stay in big packs on beaches and they're kind of in the way. So for humans who come along and just want to like play in the beach, they're just in the way, so they're very unpopular Pokemon. And then it evolves into Vigoroth, and just like the regular ones, they're hyper energetic and kind of mean. They like to bully other Pokemon because they're very angry because nobody likes Slackoth. So they're like very protective of them, and they're being protective by like fighting literally everyone. Which unfortunately means that nobody likes them either, because they're just fighting everyone. And then the problem is, even if you like battling and you have this really strong aggressive Pokemon, when you evolve it into Slacking, once again, it's an incredibly lazy Pokemon that doesn't want to battle. So unfortunately this Pokemon line is extremely unpopular. But fortunately, they don't care, because they just want to be lazy and lie around, so they don't care what people think about them. You don't want to catch them? Good, means they get to be more lazy and just lie around the beach. And the shinies are all blue, because I thought that would reflect the water type more than the regular colors. Next Pokemon is Nincada. New type is Dark. Since Nincada is already based on a ninja, I thought, well, let's just up the ninja elements. Because you know a ninja is an assassin, so that's dark. It already has the perfect theme, so of course I made it black and gave it a cool red accent to have that like ninja-esque color combo. They're incredibly aggressive Pokemon naturally because they're dark types. They're like ninjas, they're little assassins. They will attack everything sneakily and efficiently and so on. And of course, Nincada's gimmick is evolving into 2 Pokemon at the same time. What a guy. Okay, so first we have Ninjask, which of course is just also more ninja-y. Same thing, same vibe. They're nocturnal Pokemon, they're incredibly aggressive, they're excellent battlers, because like that's what they live for, attacking others. They're perfect dark types, you know. And of course, as you evolve your Nincada, you also get Shedinja. Regular Shedinja has kind of a little Gloria, you know, and kind of looks like an angel because it's a ghost type and it's dead and all that. So I thought I just have to do the polar opposite and give it a little like demon horns, you know, so it's a little demon instead. And also of course make it white, because I think that's a perfect contrast. You have the black ninja and then you have the white ghost. And then of course shiny versions have the original green of Nincada, and I just kept it all throughout because I thought that would be neat. And we've made it all the way to Whismur, and the new type is Dark. Again, 2 darks in a row. Wow. Given that regular Whismur is like very timid and shy, I thought it would be fun if it was the polar opposite. It's like a very screamy Pokemon, which is perfect for the Whismur line because they're like sound-based. Sound type, anyone? Basically they're little punk rock Pokemon. They just scream in people's faces all the time. And it's just gonna keep screaming as it evolves into Loudred. Loudred is pretty much the same as a regular Loudred, but even more obnoxious about its screaming. They're an incredibly annoying Pokemon to train because they're so loud all the time and they like being annoying, like that's their thing. They want to annoy everyone and like prove themselves by being the loudest because that's their natural instinct. I think they're also like perfect Pokemon for like a punk rock concert. So that's probably the only kind of trainer that likes them are punk rockers. Which is a trainer class. You have like punks. So, you know, somebody likes them. And of course it evolves into Exploud, which is the ultimate punk Pokemon. A noticeable like design difference I did is that regular Exploud has like a tail that goes backwards, and I thought it would make more sense to have the tail bend forwards with the speakers, because that makes it more aggressive when it like attacks forward and screams and stomps and whatever they do. Now the regular forms are just like shades of purple, but I thought for the shiny versions I would do like a bright pink, and that is entirely inspired by Team Yell. And that's it for this time. That's actually all of the Pokemon for part 2. So in part 1 I asked you to draw some Pokemon forms on your own if you want to. Turns out nobody wants to, otherwise I would have showcased them here, but nobody did it, so you know. But the offer still stands. If you want to do a Pokemon from this video, just tag me on Twitter or Instagram and I'll showcase it in the next video, or the one after that or whatever. Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, you know the deal. I'll see you next time, bye!